And hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fowl Territory 317. I am your cordial host, Gizzard Gary, and you're not. So, anyway, welcome one and all to the show. It is the final day in June. It is June the 30th, the year of our Lord 2025. So, welcome one and all to the show. Let's see who we've got out there. We don't have too many people because I went a little early tonight for me. Yeah, I normally it's like 9:15 or so my time before I even start. But I wanted to turn over a new leaf, so to speak. So anyway, I guess people will filter in here when they can. Right now we got Alaska One Andy out there. We have Fuku YT out there in the audience. And we have Ozzy Orsborn barking at the moon. Now my counters tell me we have 12 people out there on YouTube and 2 people on X.com. So if you're out there on X, you can also comment. We should be able to see you here. So anyway, welcome one and all to the show. Let's see who we got for panelists this evening. Right now, we've got a couple fine, stellar panelists here. Let's say hello to them. And the first one here, you might know him as the host of This Week Unloaded on the Unloaded Media channel. He goes on Sunday nights, and he lives clear in the valleys of West Virginia. And let's say hello to Rich White.
Hello.
Hello. Joining us right now is Abigail Finnegan. Hello. Also, Gun Websites is out there. Good evening, one and all. Thank you for being here, Rich. Our next panelist comes to us from the Keystone State, not the beer, mind you, but the state. Want to be clear about that. He's got so many YouTube channels it ain't even funny, and avatars to match them all. Yeah, he might be known as Blind Guy Photography, or 2A is Blind, or maybe even 2 Live Moo. I don't know, or the Gun Snob, but most of us know him as Guns and Barbecue. Hello.
Sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. I was lost in all those avatars. Yo.
Somebody's saying hi to Ron Wayne. I don't see Ron Wayne in the chat unless there's something wrong with my chat. Interesting. But yeah, Ron Wayne's a good guy. Oh, it's Ron 2A Matters. Okay.
Oh.
Ron 2A Matters is here. He is not Ron Wayne. They are 2 different people. Yes.
Check that out.
They are 2 separate people. Yes. But both of them great people, supporters of the channel. Ed Gabriel is out there. He says, "Oh, I'm awake for once." All right. Does that mean we have to be awake too?
I'm barely awake.
Yeah. So, Fuku says close enough. All right, fair enough. I should start the ticker because we do have stuff going on this evening. Of course, Fowl Territory, as always, is presented by the good folks at Aegis Gun Care, the leader in performance and protection. And to enter tonight's giveaway, you're going to put in the hashtag, which is #FT317. That's right, and that's for a chance to win a spike package, which includes the Aegis Sample Trifecta, which will come to you free of charge, courtesy of Aegis Gun Care. So it's a cool deal. We'll have that a little later on in the program. So we got some more people coming in here. I see Gerald Muir is out there, and Rich White out there and in here. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Wow. J Delta 22 NC is out there. And I suppose we'll have more people trickle in. We got the hashtags. I guess I better start the giveaway tool, so we can start picking up the hashtags. That'd be a good thing. It should go ahead and pick up the ones that are out there, but let's make sure. Yeah, it's already got 5 in. Okay, it's working. Okay, so we have a giveaway tool out there. Okay, so real quick before we get started on topics, how's everybody doing today? Are you having a great day?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right. Well, I'm glad it's all right, not horrible.
Been better, been worse.
Yeah, same here. How about you, Rich?
Average.
Eh. Or as my daughter would say, meh. whatever that means. But yeah, I hear a helicopter out there. That's the joys of living a block from the local hospital and the helipad. So anyway, we will persevere. We got somebody else that just got here. It is Misty, Mrs. Wayne, or otherwise known as Mrs. Wayne.
Isn't it glorious?
Isn't it glorious? Indeed. Well, she's glorious. That's for doggone sure. And we're glad she's here. Unfortunately, her husband, who was mentioned before, isn't here. But his alter ego, Ron 2A Matters, is here. But once again, they are two different people. So anyway, glad to have Misty. Glad to have you all here. She said, all I said was, hey, well, hey, you got a lot of attention. Take it. You know, any publicity is good publicity. That's what they say. You know. So even if they call you a butthead, at least they're calling you. But nobody called you a butthead, by the way. And I wouldn't do that. Rich would, but I wouldn't. So
You would.
Oh, Rich is all right. I don't care what everybody else says about him. But yeah. So let's see. This helicopter's distracting me. So we got some topics. Let me go ahead and pull up this website that I have bookmarked. Or maybe if I find the bookmark, that's a problem. I've actually got 3 different ones we can talk about. But this is the big one. This is the one that Rich will probably chomp on. So anyway, let's go ahead and put it on the screen and then we'll talk about it. If I can find the right button, let's put it that way. There you go. This is an article from our good friends at bearingarms.com. And this is by Cam Edwards, 1:01 p.m. today. And it says, Senate language zeroing out taxes on suppressors, short barrels passes the bird bath. Isn't that cute? Okay, let's go ahead and read this. The Senate's votorama of the One Big Beautiful Bill is expected to continue through the day, but gun owners have already received some good news about the language zeroing out taxes on most NFA items after a proposal to nix both the taxes and registration requirements was shot down by the Senate parliamentarian. My God, that's a hard word to say.
Parliamentarian. That hard.
Well, I'll let you say it from now on. And it's showing looks like a tweet from GOA. It says, breaking $0 NFA tax stamps for suppressors and short-barreled firearms, SBRs, SBSs, and AOWs clears its bird bath with the parliamentarian. Butchered that again. But gun owners should not give up on a full NFA tax strike. Leader John Thune and J.D. Vance must fire/overrule the parliamentarian. God, forget it. Whatever the hell it's called. Justin Grimm's out there, by the way. Hello, Justin. Article goes on to say that Thune show no openness to fire or overruling the You say it, Rich.
Parliamentarian. Ignore the I.
Even after Donald Trump weighed in on Truth Social and agreed that her ruling shouldn't be allowed to hurt the Republicans' bill. 2 Republicans have already said they'll vote against the bill because of concerns about deficit spending and cuts to Medicaid. And I suspect that one of the reasons Thune has been silent about firing Elizabeth McDonough is that breaking with tradition might cause two others to vote against the bill, either in protest or because of what the bill would look like if her rulings were disregarded. I don't think the issue would be the expanded NFA language, by the way. There are a host of other provisions in the bill that have yet to be resolved. I suspect that even if Thune is philosophically okay with ousting the parliamentarian, he isn't trying to wrangle 51 votes to fire McDonough because he has his hands full trying to get 51 votes to pass the OBBB in whatever form it ultimately takes. And then there's a quote here: Republican fiscal hawks and White House officials are trying to kill off a series of Senate megabill amendments that would ease the phase out of clean energy tax credits, arguing the move would strip out hundreds of billions of dollars in budget savings and potentially risk GOP support for the overall bill. Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska and other senators are forging ahead with plans to offer a series of amendments doing just that. One from Murkowski would offer a reprieve for projects that have started construction. Critics of the credits want them eliminated quickly for projects that aren't already completed. I want to say hi to 223 DMR out there, and Weston, and Vanessa Kitty. Anyway, going on, it's setting up a major inter-party fight as Senate GOP leaders race to pass a massive bill out of their chamber and send it to the House in the coming hours. Fiscal hawks on both sides of the Capitol are warning they will oppose the bill if the phase-outs of Inflation Reduction Act provisions are watered down. The gun snob is like, the gun snob, I can't talk now. The gun snob's out there in the chat, by the way. Anyway, M. Gabriel, okay. Going on, that's one issue, but there are others, like West Virginia Senator Jim Justice's opposition to an amendment from Florida Senator Rick Scott dealing with Medicaid payments. Maine Senator Susan Collins, meanwhile, is set to introduce an amendment to double the Rural Hospital Fund, a move which has budget hawks squawking in protest. The outcome of the OBBB itself isn't guaranteed, but the language zeroing out the taxes on most NFA items appears to be safe. Should the registration language have passed muster with McDonough? Absolutely. As Representative Andrew Clyde and others have pointed out, without the taxes, there's no need for a registry of who paid them. Still, if the Senate's amended language becomes law, it would be the biggest NFA reform in nearly a century. And as Williams pointed out on today's podcast, it would also lead to a substantial increase in lawfully owned suppressors and short-barreled firearms, which will only bolster the argument that they're protected by the Second Amendment because they're in common use for lawful purposes. A good point. If the NFA disappears, so does its registration requirements. Repealing it through legislation is just one possibility, and the courts can be used to take apart that regime without having to rely on a partisan parliamentarian's point of view. Oh, well said. So, thoughts on that? This is where you talk, Rich.
Well, let's see. This bill was, according to reports, scheduled to be passed on Friday. What happened on Friday? The parliamentarian went and said, "No, you can't pass those as bills coming out of the Senate and Finance Committee." So to say that this NFA thing, like what Mr. what's his name, Cam Edwards or something?
Yeah, Cam Edwards.
So for Mr. Edwards to say that the NFA aspect of this isn't what holding up this bill is factually inaccurate based on what happened on Friday. That's exactly what held up its passing and caused it to have to sit through the weekend as the Republicans tried to, or pro-gun, whatever you want to call them, lobby tried to figure out how to get at least part of that back into the bill again. So, yeah, that's just not factual what he was saying on its face.
I want to say hello to the goddamn bacon out there. He says, wait, things happen on Fridays? Yes, they do.
Yeah, and also, how many people have actually heard about those other minor squabbles? It's all been about on the news and everything, and you hear the Democrats throwing a fit about is the NFA aspect of it. You don't really hear about any of the other stuff.
Now, Weston says there was a bunch of stuff she threw out. Now, Abigail says suppressors, SBRs, etc. are protected by the 2A. It explicitly acknowledges the right to the same weapons as the military or better quality. True.
Well, like me and Barbecue were talking last night, there's a court decision from the Supreme Court that goes all the way back to 1938, Miller v. U.S., in which the Supreme Court ruled that the people have the right to the same weaponry in common use, by the way, by military units. Not just the United States military, period. And guess what are? Short-barreled rifles, full auto weapons, and short-barreled shotguns.
And
in
nukes.
fact, the British military had just bought a whole bunch of short-barreled shotguns from Mossberg. You know, the new one with the AR-style controls on it? That was developed for the British military specifically as a short-barreled shotgun for door breaching. And it's going to be their standard door breaching shotgun, which means it's going to be in common use by a military, meaning that short-barreled shot under Miller, short-barrel shotguns, SBRs, and full auto firearms should be taken off of the NFA. And also, the Hughes Amendment violates the ruling in Miller as well.
Okay, got some comments out here real quick to take a look at. Vanessa Kitty says, if the Senate drops all the filibuster crap, then any party in power in the Senate can try to pass stuff by simple majority. But then that goes both ways as parties switch seats in power. 223 DMR says Republicans need to stop working against each other and get to work for us. J Delta 22NC says the Republicrats better grow a spine. Jacob S says, guess what I heard today? Indiana is adding another $2 per box cigarette tax coming soon. 223 DMR says them Republicans ain't done anything for us. M. Gabriel says, Miller says weapons not in military use are not covered. That means weapons used by the military are covered.
Yeah, the fact that short barrel shotguns at the time of the case of Miller, because that's what was being decided, the guy that took that case all the way to the Supreme Court was arrested for having a non-registered short barrel shotgun. And the court ruled against him because of the fact that, according to the court in Miller, the Constitution protects military weapons. And since no military at that time was using a short barrel shotgun, it wasn't covered. Now militaries are, so therefore, under the ruling in Miller, short barrel shotguns would be covered by the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Now, Abby says Republicans and Democrats are on the same side behind the scenes. It's all a work. Weston says the Byrd rule killed this, but when the D's were in charge, it saved some stuff from Scary Harry Reid passing, so we loved it then. Yeah, it kind of works that way. Block 9 says, hello, Gizzard Gary and everyone. 223 DMR says, that's right, Republicans and Democrats are the same. They are the establishment. Yeah, might be something to that. Other discussion? Anybody?
So, on the people that are saying Republicans never do anything for us or anything like that, they could have just rolled over, played dead on this, and went, oh, yep, we wash our hands, they got us, and had that be the end. And they could have never gone back to the board and got the $200 tax stamps waived and just had that be the end. For anybody that's out there saying all or nothing, you're being very, here we'll use this one, acute. Like that, Rich? So you're being very acute looking at this.
I got you. I can pick up what you're putting down.
Because if you're sitting there going, it should be all or nothing, should it be? Abso-freaking-lutely. But at the end of the day, if the tax stamp is gone, much like this article said, because I said this last night and I've been saying it for a couple of days already, if the tax stamp is gone, that opens up the floodgates where that $200 is cost prohibitive for some people. It's just the way it is. You know, when you're talking about for some cheap suppressors, what, $300-400, and you're going to add on a $200 tax. All of a sudden that becomes, pricey for people. Not to mention all the other hoops that you got to jump through. So all of a sudden you take away that tax. Now you're removing a third of the cost. That helps people out. So that opens up the floodgates. Who knows how many are out there? Obviously, the ATF knows because they've got a registry. So now that this tax will be gone, we'll be able to say common use, all that. But, once that floodgate opens up, we really get to say common use. And when there's no tax, then we get to go and say it's an illegal registry.
Now,
That's the whole thing with the registry. You can't have the registry without the tax. That's why the registry is legal in the first place, is because it's a tax.
Mm-hmm.
now
That's how they were.
Weston has a comment. He says they can drop the NFA tax to 0. Can't they also increase it if they want in the future?
Well,
Maybe.
yeah, they could if they get the votes to do it.
They were talking about it a couple of years ago. They wanted to make it like $10,000, but it didn't happen.
Denny's plant-based journey is out there. Abigail says K-Fabi is still active in politics. Jacob says, I also heard that Indiana is making some change to the red flag laws. It has. Not sure on the full story. Just caught a blip about it when I switched the news on. M. Gabriel says, SCOTUS said since it has not been shown that SBSs were of military utility, they were not covered, and Miller's attorneys were not present.
Knew it was Miller because he mysteriously died before it went to court, and then the Supreme Court still like, yep, we're going to hear this without anybody to argue it.
Surrender Park is out there. Abby says, honestly, I'm just jaded to the point of cynicism and being constantly prepared for disappointment. G-Web says registration is worse than any amount of tax. M. Gabriel says that must be why Murphy, Connecticut, I guess, wants to make the NFA tax $1. I think somebody mentioned that in the pre-chat. Abigail says any law repugnant to the Constitution is null and void. 1830-something Supreme Court ruling. Okay, what was you going to say, guys? Sorry for interrupting you.
I was just saying on the Miller thing, yeah, his attorneys never showed up. He mysteriously died before it went to the Supreme Court. Some people say, he was killed beforehand on purpose. I heard other stories that it was just an auto accident. I'm not 100% sure if anybody really knows the truth on that. But either way, there was nobody there to argue the case for Miller. There's just, the government, conveniently. But I've been also saying for years, if you take Miller, Heller, Bruin, put these three together in cases, like when they were going after pistol braces, and by the ATF's own admission, all these are now SBRs. Well, if you're saying that there's minimum 3 million SBRs in the hands of Americans right now, because these are now SBRs, if you took all three of these cases and said, well, this one says this one says this, and this one says this, like, how could the Supreme Court possibly rule any other way? But nobody wanted to take it serious.
Okay, Vanessa Kitty says the senators in Connecticut are always useless when it comes to our rights. Abby says, wouldn't surprise me. The government has a habit of killing people for its own benefit. And then she says, at that point, put a stock on it and tell the government to give their balls a tug. I love that. Okay, so have we ran that one into the ground, or you want to go on? We got some more stories if you want to go on. I take that. That it's okay to go on. Okay. So we go on to the next story. This is where I kind of wish Hillbilly was here because now we're going to talk about Missouri. Let me put this misery.
Otherwise known as the home in a Mason-Dixon line?
That's it. So, also from Cam Edwards this evening at 7:01 p.m., the Missouri AG takes on big tech, local government in 2A related challenges. All right. So, I can't talk again. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is stepping up his defense of the Second Amendment with two new legal challenges, one aimed at tech giants Google and Meta, and another directed at a Missouri county that directly conflicts with the state's pre-exemption statute. Last week, Bailey issued a civil investigative demand to Google and Meta to determine whether the companies had engaged in unlawful business practices by suppressing lawful speech and commerce related to firearms and ammunition on its platforms. Near and dear to our hearts. While the CID isn't a formal lawsuit, it's a formal investigation of the companies conducted by the Attorney General's office, which has the power under Missouri law to compel the production of documents, communications, and other materials related to potential violations of Missouri's consumer protection laws. Some blue states are using these same consumer protection laws to go after the firearms industry, so it's nice to see Bailey use his state statute to investigate the silencing of Second Amendment advocates, gun owners, and sellers on the platforms. And then we got a quote here. The demand was prompted by troubling allegations that Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are obscuring or penalizing content related to firearms, accessories, hunting, personal protection, and related political viewpoints. Boom. Because Missouri law prohibits companies from misleading consumers about their services, our office is demanding that Google and Meta provide relevant documents, policies, and communications. As stated in the CID, the right to keep and bear arms is one of the most sacred and cherished rights guaranteed to the citizens of the state of Missouri under the Constitution of the United States. The document continues by saying, if citizens are prevented from owning modern firearms, the government holds monopoly on the use of force. And as history has demonstrated time and again, this consolidation of power inevitably leads to the violation of human rights and the trampling of individual liberty. Man, that's big. Bailey, meanwhile, has filed a lawsuit against Jackson County, Missouri for a recently enacted ordinance that prohibits the sale of handguns and undefined assault rifles to adults under the age of 21. In the new lawsuit, Bailey teamed up with Gun Owners of America and GOA member Leonard Wilson Jr. to argue the ordinance violates the Second and 14th Amendments as well as Missouri's firearms preemption law. Jackson County leaders don't get to nullify the Constitution just because they disagree with it, said Attorney General Bailey. Their actions are a blatant attempt at lawfare to achieve their political agendas. We're taking this fight to court to defend the rights of every Missourian because all law-abiding adults are entitled to equal protection under the Constitution. Missouri is taking this action because Jackson County Ordinance number 5865 unlawfully criminalizes adults aged 18 to 20 for engaging in activity that is fully protected under both the U.S. Constitution and Missouri law. The ordinance bans the purchase of handguns and ammunition by these adults and prohibits them from possessing so-called semi-automatic assault rifles, a vague and undefined term which includes many firearms in common use. Missouri law unmistakably preempts local governments from creating their own firearm regulations. Under 21.750, revised statutes, Missouri, the state has exclusive authority to legislate in this area, a fact that Jackson County's own legal counsel acknowledged. Nevertheless, the Jackson County legislature, wow, overrode the Jackson County's executive's veto and deliberately pushed the ordinance forward in hopes of provoking a legal battle. For those who are unaware, Jackson County, Missouri is a Kansas City area. Okay. Going on with the article, they wanted a legal fight, and now they've got one they're almost certainly going to lose. Jackson County Executive Frank White, former Royals player, by the way, that's exactly who that is, vetoed this measure after warning it violated Missouri preemption law, and County Councilor Brian Kavinsky cautioned that passing the ordinance would open up the county to liability. The Jackson County Council overrode White's veto, and the primary sponsor of the ordinance admitted that the goal in adopting the measure was to challenge preemption in court. Even if a judge concludes that adults younger than 21 can be denied the ability to purchase and possess commonly owned firearms, which unfortunately we've seen before, Jackson County's ordinance explicitly violates the state's firearms pre-exemption law. I keep saying that, preemption law. And courts across the country have repeatedly rebuffed challenges to others preemption statutes. I'm getting tired of reading. Missouri's law prohibits any government body other than the legislature from adopting any order, ordinance, or regulation concerning in any way the purchase, sale, transfer, or possession of firearms or ammunition. Jackson County's ordinance is precisely why preemption laws are so important. Throughout the rest of the state of Missouri, it's perfectly legal for an 18-year-old to possess and purchase an AR-15. 19-year-olds can apply for and receive a concealed carry license, and so long as they lawfully possess a gun, they lawfully carry it either openly or concealed under the state's constitutional carry statute. In Jackson County, however, a 20-year-old is barred from buying ammunition for her handgun, nor is she allowed to possess the most popular rifle in the country. That's clearly a violation of the Second Amendment. Hopefully, it won't be long before Bailey and GOA have the judge grant summary judgment in their favor, and maybe even force the county to cough up the cash to cover the plaintiff's legal fees. All right, what do you think of that?
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Got some stuff going on in Missouri, evidently. You know, a couple different things. You got 18 to 20-year-olds being infringed in at least one county there. And I like the part about Google and Meta. Evidently going to make them dig up reasons why it's okay for them to, ban stuff about guns and stuff like that on their platforms. About the first time somebody got the balls to go after them, make them defend that. I think every creator in here that's ever put a video on YouTube knows all about how hard it is to get a gun video on YouTube and all the little rules. And, oh, by the way, don't post stuff about guns on Facebook because Instagram don't like them either. I'm shadow banned on Instagram because I have the goal to have knives. And yes, that is a thing on Instagram. Yeah, I'm not joking. They'll allow you to put them on there, but then they won't promote your stuff, and only the people who follow you can see your stuff. So let's see what we got out here in the comments. I'm sure we've probably woke some people up out here. Let's see. M. Gabriel says, I'm here in Missouri. Abigail says, CAD files for guns are protected under the First Amendment. Best files are at the catalog.com. Friends don't let friends use FedCAD. Ron Eastman is out there, by the way. Abby says, by definition, an assault rifle is select fire. A semi-auto only fighting rifle can't be an assault rifle unless you convert it. Abby says, too much fluff in that bill. We don't need a bigger deficit either. M. Gabriel says, that is complete BS. Mr. Bob Dobalina is out there. He says, yay, Missouri. Abby says, destructive devices are protected by the 2A. M. Gabriel says, intentionally disregarding state law. M. Gabriel says, Gary is a Civivi outlaw. Hell yeah, I am. Agorizer's out there. He says, yo, 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 and then Missouri. George Cortez is also out there. We got 30 people watching this stuff. We got a lot going on.
Yeah. And going back to the Missouri story, they're not the only state that's had this kind of stuff happen. Pennsylvania just recently had a case where Philadelphia got slapped by the judiciary in that state for doing almost the exact same, trying to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, but that's not the first time that Philadelphia's gotten slapped like that.
No, and it won't be the last.
It happens all the time to them, and they don't give a crap.
Nope, you get these local governments who think they can do whatever the hell they damn well please, regardless of what the state's already put in place. It happens everywhere, sadly.
Okay, so anyway, good for the Attorney General of Missouri. I think I like this guy. I think our Attorney General needs to wake up and join him. All right. So let's see what time we got. Oh, we still got plenty of time yet. Denny says, it is said that pervs are promoted and conservatives are censored. Oh, on the social media platforms. Yeah, that's kind of the way the world works, unfortunately. It's sad, but that's a morality state of this world nowadays. But we're going to change states here. We're going to talk about a couple other states that may be near and dear to some of the people out here. In fact, if Justin Grimm's still here, this will definitely wake him up. I could just push the right buttons here. Okay, one more article. And it says concealed carry changes come this week in Colorado and Iowa. Again, by Cam Edwards. Cam's been busy today, hasn't he? I tell you. All right. So, new laws set to take effect in Colorado and Iowa on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, show the growing divide between Democrat-controlled legislatures and ones dominated by Republicans when it comes to our right to keep and bear arms. We all knew that. Colorado Democrats passed House Bill 24-1174 last year, making substantial changes to the state's concealed carry system. Starting tomorrow, all applicants will have to take a handgun training class conducted by an instructor, quote, verified, unquote, by the county sheriff when the training takes place. That's going to greatly limit the number of instructors available. In Denver, for example, there are just 15 verified instructors from 7 different companies who are eligible to teach the course to serve a population of more than 700,000 residents. The classes must all be attended in person, and applicants must pass both a written and live fire test before submitting their application to their local licensing authority. The new law also requires existing concealed carry licensees to take a 2-hour refresher class that also includes a live fire test when they apply to renew their license. Ahead of the new law taking effect, at least one sheriff in the state has reported being deluged by applications under the current system. And we're quoting here, we thought we'd get here right at opening time at 9 o'clock, said Riley Andrews, a Castle Rock resident seeking a concealed carry permit. Coming at lunchtime is not a good idea, said Jason Kennedy, division chief for the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Kennedy says the permitting office is as busy as ever, with some having to wait 2 or more hours. We're doing, all-time highs, Kennedy said. Over the last year, we saw about a 330% increase in new permits and then renewals at 663%. They've already issued more concealed carry permits so far in 2025 than they did in all of 2024. It's been absolutely a madhouse down here, but we're here to support the community get their permits, Kennedy said. And this week it's coming to a head as a change in requirements to get those permits nears. On Tuesday, we had an all-time high of 95 new permits, and I think it was like 53 renewals in one day, Kennedy said. We had 1 fingerprint machine and 1 camera, and so we can only process that fast. While Colorado is making it more time-consuming and more expensive to exercise a fundamental civil right, a new law in Iowa will help ensure that young adults have the ability to bear arms without risking criminal charges. Quoting here, due to federal laws, gun buyers in Iowa and elsewhere will still have to wait until they're 21 to buy guns from licensed dealers. But 18 to 20-year-olds can now own and carry a gun and buy guns through private sales, such as selling to a relative or even an unlicensed dealer. Gun store owner Kemlin Hart said the changes will win for the Second Amendment, even though it might make his job harder. How do we handle it if a father comes in and buys his son or daughter, or a mother for that matter, comes in and buys a son or daughter a firearm? Is that a straw purchase? That's something we have to be on the lookout for all the time, Hart said.
No, it's not.
The article says,
that's a stupid fucking question.
That's not a straw purchase, at least the way I read the law. There are 2 federal statutes related to straw purchases. The primary one is 18 U.S. Code 932, which declares it shall be unlawful for any person to knowingly purchase or conspire to purchase any firearm in or otherwise affecting interstate or foreign commerce for, or behalf of, or on the request or demand of any other person knowing or having reasonable cause to believe that such other person meets the criteria of one or more paragraphs of Section 922D. Section 922D lays out who is prohibited under federal law from purchasing and possessing a firearm, and that adults younger than 21 aren't on that list. So if a firearm purchased by mom or dad is a gift to their adult son or daughter isn't a straw purchase, even if the adult child is with them in the store. Mom or dad is still the actual buyer, and the gun in question is a bona fide gift. There's also no federal law prohibiting the private sale of a pistol to an adult 18 or older, though FFLs are prohibited from selling handguns to under 21s. There are multiple lawsuits challenging the federal restriction on commercial handgun sales to those 21 and older, and Colorado's state-level ban on gun sales to adults younger than 21 is already the subject of a federal lawsuit. We're almost certainly going to see more filed over Colorado's new concealed carry regime once the new requirements kick in on Tuesday, and sadly, I'm sure the Democrats in Denver are going to give us more reasons to sue when the 2026 legislative session gets underway. Okay, there's a lot right there. What do you think of that? I know we were already talking about it earlier.
I think he should have done it in 2 different articles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But definitely, yeah, I don't see any reason why an adult. Now, I bought a gun for my daughter. She was in the store with me, but she's not legally banned from owning firearms. Well, she's over 21, so it wouldn't have applied here, but still, there's no law against doing that as long as you don't have any reason to believe the person you're getting it to is prohibited. Now, if I'd have known she was a felon or something like that, that's different. That's a straw purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Now, different people read this different ways. I will tell you that. I bought a gun in Cabela's last year, and I was looking. My daughter and son-in-law were with me, and they knew what I was looking for. I happened to walk the long way around the store and was looking at some other things before I walked back to the gun counter. I got a text from my daughter, said, "Hey, we found your gun. It's here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I walk up there, she's standing here, and she points right where it is. So I look at it, and I tell the guy I want it, and he says, there was somebody else asking about this before. Were they with you? And it's like, yeah, it's my daughter. She knew I was looking for it. And he says, well, there is a law. He goes reading all this stuff about straw purchase and stuff, giving me the riot act. It must have been 30 minutes worth of talking before I could convince him that, hey, I was buying this thing for me, and everything else. But it's like, there was no
You should have just said
reasonable. There's no laws even possibly being broken here. Even if my daughter did come and look at it first and say, here, I want this, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Why are people being so paranoid? I know everybody's worried about, the ATF's going to come in here and shut us down, but you need to know the law. You need to know the law.
Well, that's the problem with your big box stores. They don't know. They sit down the employees to watch a video that says, watch out for straw purchases, and this is what it's going to look like, blah, blah, blah. And, under that, he's like, all the red flags went off. Understandable. And they don't explain the nuances and all the minutia. They don't explain, like, oh yeah, this is how firearms can exchange hands without any bullshit or anything else, and you don't have to worry. And they don't care about any of that. And this is why I shop local and go to my local FFL, and I don't buy at big box stores. Yeah. I realize that's all people like. That's fine.
Yeah.
And
But
it's not, you're not just going to run into that at big box stores, though. I've run into it at small mom and pop shops
oh,
where they didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground either.
I've run into that too. And say I'm not saying like all your mom and pop shops are, you know, great. You know, you do run like there's one locally where I will go into it periodically just to see what the hell the guy has, because every once in a while somebody will say like, "Hey, the shop has this or something," and I'm like, "God damn it," because I hate going in there because it's always something. But like that's where I ended up getting my Montgomery Ward's double barrel 16 gauge. You know, a couple other guns where like when I find out that there's something, I'm like, all right, I'll go in there. But otherwise, I don't go in there because it's one of those shops where I'm like, no, this guy's he's a putz.
I went in. Well, when I bought this Ruger LCR, I bought it at an Orslin Farm and Home, which is a farm store chain in the Midwest. And in my town where my daughter lives. And I picked this gun out, you know, everything's great, blah, blah, blah. They're writing up the paperwork. I hand them my concealed carry permit, which I do whenever I'm buying a gun. Fill out the 4473, and they said, now we have to run a background check on this. I said, well, I have a concealed carry permit. I'm exempt from the background check. And they said, well, we ran everybody through it. And I'm like, what? And they said, it's just corporate policy. We make everybody do a background check. We don't care if you have a concealed carry permit or not.
Yeah.
Which only delayed it like 5 or 10 minutes, but still, it's like, really?
Yeah, we have that here in West Virginia too, and I've yet to go into a gun store and buy something since that's been implemented where the store didn't run a background check anyway. Well, that was the whole one of the reasons why I got my West Virginia permit in the first damn place. That and going to PA.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to respond to a text. Let's see. Speaking of text, let's see who we got or what kind of comments we got out here. Let's say. Back on the previous one, George says, gun is so hard to post on social media, but hey, I stayed in a Motel 6 extended stay and lived like a king. There you go. Abby says, remember, don't post guns on the internet the government doesn't already know about. Well, they probably already know about most of them. Don't
You filled out a 4473. They know about it.
Don't ask the crown for permission to do something that you were born with the right to do. That's valid. Defense Dad's out there, and he says, I bought a straw today. It came with a free soda, but M. Gabriel says, bona fide gifts are exempt. Yes, that is true. Abigail says, if you're not locked up, you should have all your rights. All gun laws are infringements. True. M. Gabriel says, as long as she didn't give you money to do it. No, she did not. Defense Dad says, totally stupid. They can purchase private sale at 18, but not from a legit store that's going to do the paperwork. How does that make sense? You got a point. You got a great point there. M. Gabriel says, what about the guy who bought a pistol for his out-of-state cop uncle, which was still found to be a straw purchase because the uncle gave him money to buy it? Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, out of state and stuff.
Well, the problem there is
it's gray areas there.
Well, no, the problem is it's his uncle.
Oh, that's it?
Yep.
Why would that be?
Because the lineage has to go vertically. It can't go side to side. So grandfather to grandson, grandfather to a granddaughter, mom, dad to child, like that. But it can't go uncle to nephew, aunt to niece, anything like that. No.
I can buy a gun and gift it to anybody I want to.
You could, but in this case, it would be a straw purchase. They'd have to fill out the paperwork.
If I want to buy a gun and give it to my next door neighbor, I can. long as I
But-
don't have any reason to believe that they're banned from owning a gun.
But
And
again, if you're buying it knowing that it's for them, like, hey, I want this, and then you go buy it, then that's a straw purchase. Now, if you're just buying it, then you're like, you know what, I'm going to give this to them, because I think they'd like this as a gift. That's different.
yeah, and I'm sure the over state line thing also came into play because you can't buy a pistol for somebody over state lines, unless they're having it
Oh,
you're
yeah, that
having
was-
it
I
shipped to their FFL in their state to have it transferred. You can't do that either.
I forgot that it was a handgun too. Yeah, that was another thing that was screwy about that one.
And if he's a police officer, depending on what pistol it was, why didn't he buy it for himself? Because there's a lot of police discounts from
You should be
various
able to
gun
get blue label
manufacturers.
pricing for.
Right.
Say, and the comment that said it, if she didn't give you the money, Gary, she could have gave you the money. It didn't matter.
Anyway, let's see. M. Gabriel says, didn't the Justice Department just approve a bunch of states concealed carry permits for no NICS check? Let's see. Defense Dad says, if his uncle is a cop, he damn well should have known better.
You would think that, but you would be wrong.
You'd be amazed at how many officers do not know the law.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a shot at officers. Think about this for a second. They go to the academy for 6 months. In that 6 months, they're supposed to learn what the law is, learn how to defend themselves, learn how to defend civilians, learn how to conduct chases, learn how to conduct searches, there's all kinds of stuff that they got to learn in 6 months. And then get out of the academy, go to a agency. That agency is going to train them for a year with a field training officer, possibly a couple different field training officers, hopefully. That way they get a well-rounded training and then send them out on their own. And you expect them to know the law? Like, come on.
Real quick, want to say hello to DJ Play Nice out there. Also, looky here. Ghost Tactical is out there. We have a celebrity in the audience, folks. Ghost Tactical is out there.
You paid him to be here.
It's going to cost me probably. M. Gabriel says, I think the uncle was in Virginia and the purchaser was in Delaware, Maryland, PA. Okay. But anyway, yeah. We got 36 people watching this mess, 33 on YouTube and 3 on the X Factor. Also got Dale Pogue just joined us out there. Man, they're flying in here like flies. Don't forget, if you want to be part of the giveaway, there's still time. Hashtag is #FT317.
By the way, small little loophole. I'm not saying to do this or anything, but if you're an aunt or uncle that wants to get your nephew or niece a firearm, you could always give it to your mom or dad who is the grandparent, and then that grandparent gifts it to them.
Okay.
Because then you gifted that to your mom or dad that went up that line, and then the grandparent then gifted that to the niece or nephew. But in this case, it's their grandchild, so it's still following that vertical line. It's goofy, but it's a loophole.
Now, where did you see all this spelled out about lineage anyway? Because I don't know where that's at.
That was explained to me a couple different gun shops, because I was asking about it years and years ago. And because I had interest in it, because there was a handgun in the family that was my grandfather's that I ended up with. And just with the way PA is about stuff, I was trying to find out exactly what I needed to do with it. And because the problem was we weren't sure. My uncle wasn't sure if he had bought it at a gun show with another one. So it could have been in my uncle's name, and he might have given it to my grandfather. And I was like, so do you want it? He's like, no, I don't want the friggin' thing. And so, like, it was still with me. But I was like, well, if it's with him, technically in his name, because in PA, all handguns are supposed to have a 4473 done and all that whenever they're transferred. But in this case, because of the family thing, and like I said, I went around to a couple different shops, and that's how it was explained to me at every shop.
Want to say hello to Gunpowder Beauty out there in the audience. M. Gabriel says, if you're in Missouri, you could give it to your and your niece's child, and they could give it back to the niece. Then he says, I'm my own grandpa. Everybody say hello to George Grayson Cat. my channel partner here, who is blocking my view of the screen right now and blocking my microphone. So hold on just a minute. He's a big old boy, that's for sure. Well,
you're supposed to put a dead cat on a microphone, not a live one.
Not a live cat. I know, it's a different thing, isn't it? He doesn't understand the difference. He says, cat? I'm a cat. Gunpowder says, George. Yeah, that's right. All right. So one thing we do need to mention is that Gear Websites is your source for every second matters. Gun channels, gear, ammo, ID, and more. They have patches, stickers, and other items. And every Friday is Free Patch Friday. So buy cool stuff at gearwebsites.com.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
That's GearWebsites.com. Check them out. Buy stuff on Friday and get free stuff. I mean, you can't hardly get a better deal than that, can you guys? Can you think of a better deal than that? I sure can't. Rimfire Range Relaxation is in the audience. So, real quick, what time is it? It's probably time. It's probably time for some music, don't you think? I think something might just slither in here and sing to us.
Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you. A large prostate won't slow him down, chasing grandmas all over town. Got a sidekick named George the Cat. Lizard Larry's got something for you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you, Lizard Larry. Gonna give it to you.
All right. Good old Lizard Larry. He's kind of a strange one, that's for sure. So anyway, yeah. So it's time for the giveaway. Enter the hashtag to enter is #FT317. And so let's go ahead, if I can reach it. I'm doing this with one hand because I wasn't anticipating having help with this. So George is going to help me here, folks. So anyway, tonight we're going to give away the Gizzard Gary channel sticker, the Fowl Territory thumbnail sticker, and then we have one. I want to go ahead and put this graphic on the screen while we talk about it. This is from XS Sights, the fastest sights in any light. And a reminder that Excess Sites is having their Independence Day sale right now through July the 7th, 30% off everything. And that's at excesssites.com.
I've heard it say that if you put gear websites on Excess Sites, they glow even brighter.
I know, right? All right, so a sticker from the good folks at Live Free Armory, true American manufacturing. And then from our good friend DM Foss, we have the Hell No Kitty sticker. And we have the Papa Smurf sticker. God, I'm having all kinds of trouble speaking English tonight, folks. Also, the official Haterade sticker. Then we have this sticker from Tech Dome, shall not be infringed. All kinds of stickers tonight, folks. We have this from We Knife. And then this one here, what does it say on it? Oh. This is from, I believe, Vostade. It's an Action for Dream. Anyway, it's a cool little sticker. You're going to get it. Do with it what you will. Hey, sticker from our good friend Ron Wayne. We had Misty in here earlier, so she knows who Ron Wayne is. She's married to the guy. We got a sticker here from Stroop Knives. They were at Goals last year. Good bunch of people. Also, we have this from Palmetto State Armory. Okay. And patches. Everybody wants patches. Fiend Dog is out there, huh? Wow. We got this 2024 NRA Dallas patch courtesy of Palmetto State Armory. We have this patch from Night Vision. We have this patch from Polymer 80. So you know that's an old one. And then we have this freshly sewn last year, I believe, Every Second Matters patch from Gear Websites. That's
I totally got to win this now.
You totally got to win that.
Yep.
And, oh, heck yeah. And I'm trying to find, because somehow or another, oh, there it is. George, help me find this. Okay. We have the official Gizzard Gary pin. And don't pin it on your cat, George says, because it hurts. Okay, so don't do that. And, of course, what if you have friends come by and they all want cold drinks and you don't want it marring up your coffee table and stuff? I got just the thing for you here. I've got a set of coasters. A full set of coasters from the good folks at EAA. That's right. And there are 7 because, of course, 7 is a full set of coasters.
Yeah,
So,
I'm using one of those EAA coasters right now. The day I got my prize pack from a couple weeks ago when I won, Amy bought me a milkshake, and I needed something to sit it on the table. So
these are the thicker version. I've been giving away the thinner ones, but I'm all out of those. So these are the thicker, more substantial coasters. So they're even better. How about that?
Those are the ones that hurt if you get hit with them.
That's right. And don't forget, the winner of this drawing also gets the Aegis sample trifecta from the good folks Aegis Gun Care. Let's go ahead, even since we're talking about Aegis, let's go ahead and put them up in the corner of the screen. That's right, because they're sponsoring this giveaway after all. So let me go ahead. Let's figure out how this StreamYard thing works here. Okay, so there is the giveaway tool. And we have 23 people in the giveaway, 32 shown on YouTube, 3 on X. And we've got 24 entries in the giveaway. You want to give them another minute or so or not?
Oh.
Living in Southwest Virginia, Steve is out there.
Is that Southwest Virginia or
Southwest
South
Virginia?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Southwest as one word.
Go to
Gotcha.
Virginia, go to the southwest corner. That's where he is. How about that? Got 26 people in the giveaway. OL1 guy or old1 guy, however you say that, is out there. G Webs, let's see, he's got his hashtag out there.
If he's in that part of Virginia, he has absolutely no excuse not to go to goals.
That's true. Ronald Eastman also out there in the chat. Rich, I'm going to let you tell me. You want to give me a countdown, or you just want to tell me when to hit this button?
Do it now.
All right. So let's find out who our giveaway winner is for tonight, Fowl Territory 317, and it is FiendDog27. So, FiendDog27, are you still in the text? Give us a text out there. Give us a comment if you're still out there, because we need to be present to win. And I believe he's out there, because he just said howdy a second ago. So he's got to be here. So we're waiting on Fiend Dog. He says, yes, indeedy. All right. Very, very cool. All right. So, I'd like to say congratulations to the winner of the Fowl Territory prize giveaway. Please send me an email with your name and mailing address and send that to winner@gizzardgary.com. That's WINNER at gizzardgary.com. And I will get that to you. I'm also gonna let you know I'm gonna share your address with the good folks at Aegis Gun Care so they can send your prize, because they do that separately from their office. All right, George is gonna get down. I guess he's, the giveaway's over. That's all George wanted to know. He didn't win, so he says, I'm out of here.
Damn it, I didn't win.
You didn't enter.
I don't think he's eligible.
He's really not, no. He's part of the channel ownership, so he is definitely not allowed to enter. But he's kind of disappointed. And I understand. Everybody wants to win the giveaway, after all. So anyway, let's go ahead and proceed. If we got any, we're going to proceed to the second segment of this show. If I can find all the little stuff that goes with it, and that is show us your corn. And in this segment, we're asking you to send your corn, and that'd be gun-related pictures or any other picture you want to send. That's appropriate. Send that to gorn@gizzardgary.com. Please include your channel name in the email so we will know who sent it. All right, so let's see.
And there is past precedent for sending in pictures of actual corn.
Corn? Yeah. If you know what corn is.
Yeah. If you know what a corn is, you can send a picture of it.
So George Cortez says, yeah, I didn't win, so I'm out of here. One moment.
Yeah, cats can be vindictive.
Anyway, I lost track. Fact of the matter is, I don't have any corn, sadly. There has been no corn sent. There's still time if you want to. Let me check my Discord real quick, because I have a feeling there might be something in my Discord that I can show. So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick and see. Yeah. Under corn, let's see. Oh, that's under 620.
Yeah, Justin said he sent something.
He did? Oh.
He just said it.
I just got it. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'll show it. I think it's appropriate. If not, it wouldn't be the first time I showed something inappropriate. And it says bacon ice cream sandwich, because bacon. That's why.
Alrighty.
Gotta love that. He says there's like 4 picks. Okay. And let's go ahead and welcome one more panelist because Sarge has joined us. Good evening.
Hey, what's up?
You're here just in time to appreciate the bacon gorn sent by Justin Graham. The bacon ice cream sandwich, because bacon. That's why. That's all the reason you need. How you been, Sarge?
Oh, pretty good. I just been busy leading a horse to water, trying to make him drink.
Oh, hope that worked for you.
You mean like I was trying to do 2 weeks ago on this show?
No, I mean literally.
Literally a horse to water?
A real horse, I believe.
A real horse, not figurative horse, an actual real horse?
No. Trying to make my dad drink. He's sitting there getting dehydrated. I'm like, all
Uh,
right, pal. I'm like, here's what we're going to do. Every day, you're drinking this.
So it's not about the miles, it's about the memories. Yeah, pushing a Ford. How about that?
Found on road dead. Isn't that what that means?
I think so.
Accurate.
There's another thing it means, but it involves an expletive, and of course we won't share that here. Oh, wow. I can't believe he did this, and I can't believe I'm actually showing it on the screen. But this came from Justin Grimm, in case anybody wants to know. And it says Subway is similar to prostitution. You pay someone else to do your wife's job. Wow.
Oh.
alrighty.
And I hope gunpowder isn't still here.
Ooh.
That's spicy.
Well, that's all we have for you tonight, folks. Good night.
Yeah. Oh, this is cool too. Okay, so in case you got to have something for your kids to play with, there is always the Van Down by the River play set. Complete with the old van and beer bottles. Wow.
Mhm.
Somebody actually made that for their kid. Isn't that cute? I don't know where he finds these things. Justin says, yes, my wife would kill me. I would imagine so. Okay, now here's something from our prize winner, Fiend Dog. He was so happy to win, he sent in Gorn. All right, and this is M&P with the upgraded slide and barrel.
Upgraded to what?
Upgraded to green, evidently. Well, that is an aftermarket barrel for sure, but it's got a threaded barrel on there.
That's a Smith & Wesson barrel. I mean, it's not barrel, slide.
I'm not sure what's different about it. Well, it is the
it's
optic
the newer,
ready.
Yeah, it's the newer slide.
Oh, okay.
It's got the full what the hell are they called? You know, the things on the slide.
Front and rear serrations.
Yes, thank you. I was probably a complete blank on serrations.
You're such a wordsmith. The front things on the slide.
Uh-huh.
You painted the picture with words.
Uh-huh. You know, the wavy things, you know. The things look like fish scales.
Yeah.
And Gabriel says the grippies. Yes, the grippy parts.
Oh, the grippy parts. All these technical terms. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. He sent two pictures, but they're the same one. Okay, we got this from Jacob. Jacob's always good for Gorn. And he'll send Gorn that nobody else sends. So he sent this. And he says, saw this on the road. Is it even allowed? No expiration date sticker and all? I don't know. I got a feeling that plate's covering up a lot of stuff. The thing is about these decorative plates is they're not supposed to cover important things. I'm sure somebody who's in law enforcement could explain the statutes on that, but you can't obscure identifying information on a plate.
Yep. It looks like a sticker in the bottom right.
I believe
Some
so.
kind of sticker there.
It's not clear enough to actually read it. And this thing over here to the left, I'm not real sure. I'm pretty sure somebody just stuck that on there, but
I don't know. That could be part of the custom tag.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose. I can't
But
really tell.
definitely having the state covered up partially is more than enough to get stopped. Even though you can probably guess it's Kentucky, that's more than enough to get stopped. If they so desired. I can tell you that a plate cover or frame such as that has led to people going to prison for the trafficking amount of drugs that they had when that was the reason for stop.
Imagine that.
I can assure you.
Mm-hmm.
I can assure you that's happened. I got somebody one time because of the trailer ball, the hitch mount, the bumper mounted trailer ball. I could not figure out what this tag said. I couldn't see the numbers or the two of the numbers. And every combination I ran came back to a different vehicle. And then when I stopped it, it turned out the one combination that I was most confident that it was the right tag, and it was still fictitious, but they got stopped for a trailer ball and ended up having 3.5 ounces of meth, something like that.
Ouch.
So it didn't work out well for them.
Yeah, did not. This is from living in Southwest Virginia, mentioned earlier. Steve, in other words. This is a Savage and Shoots Match 64, bought from Minnesota Shooting Sports. Nice. I think I said all that right anyway. And then we've got something here, several actually, from Mr. Bob Dabalina. So let's dive in. Here's the first one. It's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all different pictures of the same gun. It says Sapphire Python. I believe we may have seen this the other day. We're going to get some different looks at it today. So it's Sapphire. Okay, picture number 2 coming up. I like that blue in there. That's kind of neat.
Hence the sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
Your sapphire is blue? I guess so. I don't know what a sapphire is. So
Sapphires are blue.
Okay, you just educated me. Thank you.
Sapphire often refers to the color blue as well as it does the gem.
I did not know that. See, I'm smarter today than I was yesterday. Now, if I remember it tomorrow, that's going to be the question.
That was pretty good. Sapphires are often blue. Yeah, they are. Gold is also gold.
You can also have clear sapphires, which are used in high-end watches.
Well, I didn't notice. Yeah, it's basically in the background of this entire thing. If you look closely, like you can here, you can see it a little better.
My Garmin watch has a sapphire crystal.
Yeah, my the Citizen I'm wearing right now is sapphire.
I'm not saying I can't scratch it, and I certainly hope.
Oh, I have scratched it.
It absolutely will take some punishment.
Yeah, that's why I got it, and I found a way to scratch it. So.
Now, I think last time we had questions as to where the sapphires were on the hammer, so I think that's the reason he said it's probably never going to be fired, because it has sapphires that are inlaid on the hammer itself.
That's almost too much then.
Almost. Okay.
shoot it.
It's a safe queen. Or a collector's item. Take your pick. It is beautiful.
It's like that unissued Highway Patrol 357 I have. That was a spare. It was unissued. It didn't say it was unshot because I certainly shot it when I got it, but still unissued.
Well, that's fair. Okay, so I think that is it for the Gorn this evening. Let's see what kind of comments we got out here. I haven't looked at the comments in a while. Let's see. Mr. Bob says, around the engraving of Samuel Colt, it says, God created men, Samuel Colt made them equal. M. Gabriel says, when I have a sapphire moment, I pull it out of the toilet. Oh, yeah. Jacob S. says, probably more than $3,000 for that sapphire to be added. Mr. Bob says it's number 195 of 500. Okay. Jacob wants me to show his second pick. Well, it was pretty similar to the first pick, but hey, if he wants me to show it, I'll show it.
You're too kind.
It's basically a further out shot of that same car, but let's go ahead and look at it.
Ooh.
Looks like it's about ready to take off for that rear wing, I tell you what now.
88 miles per hour.
It's going to do the opposite of takeoff. It's going to get pushed down by that wing.
Yeah. For rear traction. They didn't see the spoiler on that thing. Well, now they have. Now they have.
It has been seen.
It has been spoiled.
It has been spoiled.
We have been spoiled.
Well, we do try. That's for sure. Okay. Wow. Well, you missed out on some good discussion earlier, Sarge.
About what?
We talked about. You guys remember what we talked about? We talked about the Senate language zeroing out taxes on suppressors. We talked about the Missouri Attorney General taking on big tech and local government. And we talked about concealed carry changes coming to Colorado and Iowa. So the first article basically talking about the big, beautiful bill, whatever the heck that thing's called, big, bouncing, beautiful bill or whatever. The second one, the Missouri Attorney General, he's basically called out Google and Meta to prove why they're not violating the law by filtering content on firearms-related content and stuff like that, because it's a First Amendment infringement and stuff like that, and it's a violation of their charter. I wish I could read the article. You'll have to go back and watch it, but it's very interesting, the attack they're taking on that. So a lot of stuff happening in the news this week. Talk about the NFA and stuff like that. What was you going to say, Rich? Go ahead.
I was going to say, and don't try and get Gary to say parliamentarian. He couldn't say it earlier to save his life.
I was trying to say parliamentarian, and I was stumbling all over that word, man. It's tough. I can see it. I know what it means, but it just wouldn't come out of my mouth tonight for some reason.
He was pretending he was from Oklahoma when he said it.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh-huh.
I totally
Or Texas.
think so.
Take your pick.
Or Texas.
He channeled his inner snob and said it wrong.
So right now, the way it stands on the bill, I guess they've got got it to where you're not paying money for the tax stamp, but that's about it. For
No, you got the one Connecticut senator wants to make it $1.
And there's debate basically is, do we want to do stuff to get the bill passed? You've got another side that's like, no, don't back down. It's kind of the same argument we were having a couple of weeks ago on this same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the all or nothing crowd.
Take it in steps. Because once you've got this done, it's like hitting save on a document. When we get to a point, I'll hit save.
Yeah, I don't think it's a weak stance to try to get what you can get now and then come back and get the rest later.
Right. Well,
I don't think that's a sign of weakness at all. At least you're making progress.
People do that if they're writing a term paper in a Word document. Nope, I'm not hitting save till the end. It's all or nothing.
I knew people at work that did that, and they were not pleased with the results.
All or nothing. Well, guess what? You might get nothing.
I just lost a whole day's worth of work.
Why did you got it all yet?
Well, why the hell didn't you save it?
A lot of nothing. You know, we ain't got it all yet, but we've got a lot of nothing. So you might want to. Because heck, if you got 25% of it, 4 years in a row, now you've got all of it 4 years later, or you can keep going for all of it and not having accomplished it in the last 50 years.
I pointed out last night, the whole reason why the House proposed it as two separate bills was for that exact reason. Get what you can get now and then fight for the other later.
Yeah, because once it's got. We got it.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, taking away zeroing out the tax is a hell of a vehicle to getting rid of the NFA. Because again, without the tax, there's no legality for the registration. Yeah, I mean, like, you could get rid of the registration while Trump's still in office.
Possibly. You mean this term or the next term?
Well, it depends on what party you want to listen to.
That's true. M. Gabriel says 0 is far better than $1. It's $1 better than $1. That's for sure. But Fiend Dog says, man, $0, but still registry and restriction. Oh, let's go for the $0 and then let's go back maybe and get the rest. Let's get what we can get. It's still. And I like Cam Edwards' take on the article. He says, if we take what we can get, that means we're going to get more short-barreled rifles and more suppressors out there on the market, which means later on when we go to make the argument that these are items in common use, it'll be even an easier argument to make because a lot more people will have them. I had never thought about that.
I said that last night and say, heck, I think I said it Saturday night on Foss's show. We'll be able to say they're common use. There's no reason to have the registration because, well, not even that there's no reason that the registration's illegal. Because again, the only reason the registration is legal now is because it's a tax. Well, if you don't have the tax there, that's why I don't understand these people that are saying, "Oh, I get that the registration's far worse than the tax, but like, be real with yourselves. If you've ever filled out a 4473, you're on a registration."
Oh well, yeah, I think we all know that.
No, say every 4473, when a FFL goes out of business now, has to go to West Virginia. They have shipping containers full of 4473s. They are scanning them in, and they have a giant database. The GOA did a FOIA request on this, and then they're like, "Is that not a registration?" And the ATF's excuse on why it's not a registration is they said, well, the reason it's not a registration is the button to make it searchable we don't have activated. Like, come on. Do we really believe that?
Did they wink when they said that?
No, they had their fingers crossed.
Like, come on.
Now, G-Web says, well, we have had common use of SBR since 2012, braces. Millions of suppressors exist, all the triggers, bump stocks. How long do we wait for common use to be effective?
Well, like I said, back when they went for braces in the first place. That was my argument. By the ATF's own admission, 3 million. Great. That is well above the Catano standard. So you've got the Catano standard of 200,000. You've got Miller saying, military use. Well, short-barreled rifles are well in use.
Yes, the M4.
Yep. Now you go and say, look at Bruin, all that fun jazz. And then again, you use the ATF's words against them because they're saying all these pistols with braces on them are actually short-barreled rifles. How was that not a winnable case? But no major organization actually wanted to take that on. So,
and another thing people got to remember: just don't taking away the $200 tax. That's just to get the bill out of the Senate and back into the House. The House can put the full Short Act and Hearing Protection Act right back in again, and then send it right back to the Senate. And since the Senate can then just pass it without having to go through the committee again, the Senate parliamentarian is powerless to remove it again. So that's another aspect. It's not over.
It's not over.
No, it's just another speed bump.
Okay, so I guess because we actually started pretty close to on time tonight. It's actually only 5 after instead of the normal 15 after. And Hillbilly was out in the country, and then he had fireworks show to go to tonight. Speaking of fireworks, don't forget Friday is Independence Day, where we celebrate the independence of our great nation.
On June 30th, they have fireworks?
I guess so.
Yes.
So anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to go to our final segment of the show. What did you learn? And in this segment, we ask each of our panelists to tell us what they learned, if anything, during tonight's episode. And then you get a chance to tell everybody what you got going on and plug your stuff. So, Rich, what did you learn tonight?
That we're all a bunch of pessimists.
All a bunch of pessimists. All of us?
I think that's pretty obvious.
It's obvious, but it's the only thing I can come up with on short notice. I was going to use the Gary not being able to say parliamentarian, but I had already brought.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, you can pick on me all you want. I'm used to it. Real quick, G-Web says, I would like to see the kind of efforts we put into the stupid ATF comment periods in the past focus on calling the Senate to change it back now. It's not over. Okay. Anyway, Rich, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, we've got a show Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Unloaded Media channel called This Week Unloaded.
Yeah.
We talked about this very topic last night.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it more. It seems to be in the news a lot lately.
Yeah, we also talked about Hollywood stuff too. So,
what time do you show and where do they find it?
I already said 9 p.m. Eastern Sundays on the Unloaded
Unloaded Media channel. That's right. And you should subscribe to that if you're not already. We need to get Rich up to 500 subs. Got anything else coming up?
Got anything else? I don't know.
Fantastic product reviews.
I got stuff I want to do. I just haven't been able to get around to doing it yet because a bunch of other crap keeps happening.
You need me to send you around to it in the mail so you can actually get some stuff done? I can do that.
Yeah.
We had those out at work one. We had those out at work one time. We made these little pieces of round cardboard and said "round to it" on it. And anybody said they was waiting to get around to it, we'd hand them one and say, "Here, get around to it."
Now you got one.
Yeah, usually when Amy's home from work, I cannot get anything done. And she'll be home tomorrow. So there definitely won't be anything tomorrow.
Nothing tomorrow. Okay. All righty. Well, thank you for being here, Rich. As always. Guns Barbecue, what did you learn?
I learned that a lot of people are cute.
Yeah, really focused and cute. Yes, that's
And
true.
some are ugly too.
Ugly.
That wasn't very nice.
That was mean. That's flat mean, Rich. Are you talking about me?
Yeah, you got a cute and a ugly, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
how?
I'm the ugly.
I thought they were obtuse.
Oh,
Well, you got obtuse and then you have thin.
now you got me confused.
Instead of obese, it's obtuse.
That's reaching.
I know.
That's reaching.
It's a stretch, but I'm trying to make it work.
That's really reaching, buddy. Barbecue, what you got coming up?
Well, I did have videos filmed, and I was in the process of editing, and then a bunch of stuff got changed with the big, beautiful bill of whatever the hell it is. So I've got to go refilm that stuff now because, apparently I don't edit fast enough. So one day I'll have about a video for the blind or 2A's blind channel. Other than that, not a lot. Photo stuff like I normally do, if people pay attention to that at all. Other than that, just same shit, different day. Thanks for the invite.
You betcha. Thanks for being here. And then we move on to Sarge, C4 Defense. What did you learn? You haven't been here long, but did you learn anything while you were here?
I learned that Rich is a wordsmith, and he can tell you what those little wavy things are on a slide, and you can just envision them.
Oh, yeah.
Based on his words.
Ooh, yeah.
And I got stuff and things coming up.
Stuff and things. Okay.
Ooh.
Wow. That's an awful lot to dump on us all at once. Stuff and things. But we'll try to process it. We'll make sure everybody out there goes and
Toby's sitting at home wondering why he just got a rash.
He's out there saying, son of a bitch. Anyway. But yeah. Okay, so my channel members out there, come back Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. We have an exclusive members-only stream where each week I give away one of the pocket knives that I have reviewed in the past. We do that every week. So if you'd like to become a channel member, it starts at 99 cents a month. So it's really reasonable. We'd love to have you. But anyway, yeah, check it out if you're a channel member. We should be back, let's see, 4th, 9th, 7th. Yeah, we'll be back Monday. I'm contemplating moving date on us again, but right now, plan on next Monday, 9 o'clock p.m. Central for Fowl Territory.
What are the choices to move it to?
Well, I was contemplating moving it back to Friday. But
Maybe you should put up a poll.
There are some people who have kind of sort of taken over that time slot, so I want to get with them first. And
so what? There's
so
a bazillion people on YouTube at once. Just go do your thing.
This is true. When it happens, if it happens, follow my community tab, and you'll find out. You'll be the first to know. How about that?
Put a poll out there.
Put a poll out there. Could do that too. Okay. So anyway, let's see. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I need to get this "What did you learn?" off here because we've already learned everything we're going to learn tonight. So thanks everybody for watching. Had a good amount of people watching and quite a bit of feedback. Pretty decent show. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell everybody. Come check it out. Anyway, if you watched, thanks for watching, whether you watched on YouTube, Facebook, or the X. And if you're watching on replay, glad to have you there also. I'd like to thank everybody who's on the panel tonight and everybody out there in the chat for all of your input, because we did have good input out there this evening. Congratulations to FiendDog27 for being the winner of the giveaway. And Ozzy says Sunday mornings are still open. Yeah. And so anyway, I'd like to give a special thanks to all of my channel members who support me every month. Thank you very much for what you do. It is totally appreciated. And I want to remind everybody that if anyone tries to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms, especially what we talked about tonight, give them the bird, as always. So anyway, On behalf of my panel, I'd like to tell you good evening. I'm going to give them a chance to say their good nights to you, and then we're going to go ahead and end the stream. So good night, folks.
Good night.
Adding $3 trillion to the budget is not a good idea. Oh, goodbye.
Good night, everybody.